Okay, guys, this is officially recording. This is a bonus call for the Branch Impact program. I'm so excited to have Miss Mallory O'Neill on the call. She is Vector East Campus Recruiting Manager, and she knows everything about creating relationships with your high schools, your colleges, working with DECA, how to set up tables, and all that good stuff. The purpose of today's call is to really teach you guys as branch managers how to properly approach your high schools. Chances are most of your colleges are going to be out by the time that you're opening up, but your high schools are definitely an area where you can absolutely thrive. So without further ado, I'm going to put myself on mute and take my notebook out and start to learn from Miss Mallory. All on you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm so excited to get to speak to you. If we haven't met before, I look forward to working with you as you're opening your office this spring. So today we're going to focus on high school recruiting. I'm sure you've heard about campus recruiting if you haven't done it in the past with your past manager. A lot of college recruiting goes on in our campus or in our company, and college is always going to be your number one campus focus. But you guys, once you're starting your office, it doesn't really time out the best since most of your colleges are letting out about the same time you're opening your offices. But you do have a chance to do some high school recruiting. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to be reaching out to your high schools and getting in there and seeing what recruiting you can do between now and May. And you might think, well, why? Why? There's only, we can only really recruit seniors. Why is campus important? And campus is really important because it creates that base of recruiting so that you can go from there and get all the PRs from those that you recruit. So you need to start your recruiting somewhere in order for you to make a PR program that works. And helping you get onto your high schools and getting your face out there and creating a brand awareness as young as possible is really important. So your high schools is where you can start doing that. It will also help with your Facebook Jumpstart program. If you're requesting these students online and they've already seen you in their school because you ran a table or because you have an announcement on their PA announcements in the morning, that's going to create a little bit more awareness, and it's going to be more successful for you with your Facebook Jumpstart program. Okay. High school also has one of the highest PPR, and it's helping to build your network close to your office. Many of your students that may go away for college, or maybe you're in a town where students are only there during the year for college. It's not a local school. Building your high school team is going to help build that team that's going to be around year-round, and maybe help build that starting network that you have with your schools. So one of the first things that we want to go through is the timeline for your schools. I'm going to share my screen in a second once I pull it up. That's what I put up on the Facebook for you guys. Let's see, where is it? Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
If you look at the bottom of your Zoom, you'll see a little green arrow or green icon.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. Share. Cool. All right. So this is your high school timeline, and don't be alarmed if you're a little behind because it's really quick once you get into it. This is just my suggested timeline for you guys. So from now until probably about next week at the latest is when you need to be making your list of the high schools. Your top high schools, say they're going to be your A list. Your middle size, maybe they're a little further from your office high schools. They're going to be your B list, and your C list are going to be maybe the little rougher schools in your area. Maybe it's a really small school, or they're the furthest from your office. And then once you make that list, you want to make your plan of attack of what days you're going to go visit those schools, starting with your A and your B list. So that's something that you'll see on here, and that's something you really need to do within the next week. Once you are going to the schools. That's what I suggest doing first. Just go to the school. Don't worry about reaching out to the schools via email or calling them first. With the high schools, I find that it is most effective for you just to go and stop by. Based on the high school schedule and just how the administrators and the counselors are used to working every day, they're not great with email. They're not necessarily at their desk all the time. So I like for you to just go and stop by. And when you do that a lot, 15 minutes per school, it doesn't take long. And what that would look like, you'll go to the front office first. You have to check in. Don't just walk down the hallways. Go down to the front office, check in, make sure that you have your license with you. They're probably going to take that from you, and just make sure that you have it. They're probably going to hold it the whole time you're there. They'll give you a pass, either to see a guidance counselor or a principal, depending on who they tell you should be speaking to. There's also a little script in here so that you know what to say when you walk into your high schools. I know a lot of you get a little hung up on that, like, what do I even say when I walk in? And it says right here, I work with a local company and I have some summer work openings for graduating seniors. Who would I talk to about getting the word out to them? And they'll say, oh, that's going to be guidance, or that's going to be the vice principal, and they'll tell you who you're going to be speaking with. And it's that easy. So don't get too worked up about it. I know this is probably the most intimidating part, is actually going and making sure that you're getting in the door, so that you can start that conversation. Once you're there, I want to sit down and speak with the guidance counselor or the vice principal, and talk about ways that you can advertise on the campus. And then you're going to be setting up the dates for that. So you'll go through this. In the case that they're not there, or you can't get a hold of them that day, that's when you're going to follow up with them via email. I would recommend doing that the same day. And then if you don't hear back from them within 48 hours, then it's appropriate to also call them and leave a voicemail or try and get them on the phone. If you sit down with them and you do have a meeting and you have all of your advertising set up, if you're meeting with them now, you're not going to be setting up tables until April, maybe even early May. You want to follow up with them closer to those dates just to confirm everything. So make sure you put that in your calendar as well. So and there's email templates in here that you can utilize on campusdocuments.com, and I will show you how to use that in a couple of minutes. I'll stop sharing that. Your main goals when you're meeting with the schools. So this is what it looks like. You're going to be utilizing your Spec 05, which all of you should have received, the folder that looks like this, and it has the 10-page brochure inside. This is going to be your main script for your meetings with your schools. Your high school administrators, guidance counselors, they're going to have even less idea about Vector than your college contact. So they're going to have a lot of questions, and it's just really easy for you to just walk through this whole thing with them, explain everything about Vector, all of our programs, and our the people and the products. And it's just like walking through your blue book when you were doing demonstrations as a rep, exactly the same. And you'll see on each page, it's really easy. It's things that you guys already know. And I have a script for you as well. If you learn better that way from just reading a script, I can send that to you so that you can read through that and you'll know exactly what you're saying on each page when you walk through the Spec 05 with them. So make sure you have this as well as your business cards. And there's a spot in here to put your business cards so that you won't forget them. I recommend doing that ahead of time. I also like having putting one of your posters in here, one of your campus posters, have that in there as well, so that if they do have a bulletin board, it's already in there. They can just pack it up for you. So when you walk through all the programs and the ways that we can advertise on campus, that's going to be your next goal of that meeting. Once you walk through everything about Vector and they know, what the base pay is and that you don't have to do any startup fees. That's when you're going to talk about ways that you can advertise on that campus. It's going to be number one, tables. That's your most efficient way to advertise on college or high school campuses. So that way you're getting the face-to-face interaction with the potential reps, and you can direct schedule right at your campus table. So having that as an option. In your high schools, you want to do that during their lunch period. So see if that's an option with your high schools. Number two, having the vice principal or guidance counselor, whoever it may be, send out an email to all of the graduating seniors and their parents. I love when we send it out to the parents as well, because seniors, they might be a little excited, prom, graduation. They're not really thinking about the fact that they have to possibly work this summer. So sending it to the parents gives that extra push to make sure that they actually see it. And maybe the parents can light a fire under them saying, hey, I'm sending you to college. You need to make a little extra money before you get there. So that's a great option if your schools can do that for you. Also, traditional posters, if your school has any job boards or bulletin boards that they can put up posters for you, that's always a really easy one. I also like PA announcements. Every high school has, morning announcements, whether it's on a television or over the PA system. We have an announcement that's written out for you, and it's on campusdocuments.com. And that can be a really great way for you to advertise throughout April, May, and June. Whether it's once or twice or 3 times a week, I think that's the most appropriate. I wouldn't do it every day, just because then it can become a little monotonous. You can also have your counselors put in a graduation letter. It's virtually the same thing as the email that would be sent out to all the graduating seniors. Just it's a printed out letter that goes in their graduation packet that many of the schools give out to their seniors, and just giving them a little bit of detail about the job. Something that you can also do, reach out to any clubs. Maybe you have a Future Business Leaders of America club. Maybe your school has a DECA. Maybe, any kind of entrepreneurial or marketing club. Reaching out to those once you've talked to the guidance counselor about how you can get involved with those. I'm sure some of you have heard me talk to the managers about DECA. That's a huge program that we're involved with. We're a national sponsor of. DECA is wrapping up in April, so that's something that you probably won't focus on, but any other clubs that they have, if there's time for you to go and maybe speak to the students about, hey, I'm opening my own business. I'd love for you guys to be a part of it. That's a great way to get involved with your schools as well. Making sure you know your graduation dates is really important so that you can space out your timeline accordingly. You want to make sure that you're getting to your schools within the next week to speak with the guidance counselors and set up your advertising. For those of you in the Northeast and Midwest, you're going to be advertising April and early May. Past that, you're probably not going to get a lot of tables, or the guidance counselor is probably going to cut it off past that, just because it's crazy with finals and prom and things like that. So I'm going to show you how to use campusdocuments.com as well. And this is a great resource for you guys for both high school and college advertising. It's a way to get a hold of all of your schools. So campusdocuments.com, you go to this. Your login is going to be your email address, and then your password is going to be Vector18 with a capital V. If you have any problems logging in, feel free to reach out to me. And your homepage is going to look something like this. You actually have less things on your homepage, so it's a little less cluttered than mine is. But right here, right on the homepage, are all of the files that you would possibly need when you're looking at your campus advertising. So meeting script, this is the script I was talking about that goes along with the Special 5 that you can walk through. Table approach, if you're doing a campus table, this is what you'd say when you're at your campus table. Online job posting, that's for colleges. If you wanted to post to their online job board, that's everything that you would need for that. Let's see, if you scroll down some more, you'll see there is a high school section. So this is really good for you guys. This is the email that would go out to the graduating seniors. There's a follow-up email for when you're speaking with your high school contact. And there's just different resources for you all right on the homepage. You can also reach out to your high school administrators through here. Up in this left-hand corner, you'll see the search bar and it says person. You can also search by company, which means school. So let's just use my high school as an example. Nope, that's not my high school. There may be multiples. If you hit enter instead of on the actual school, it'll give you a list of all of the options. And you can see their location, so it's a little bit easier for you. So there is that. All right, so over here you'll see number of hiring managers. These are the contacts that we have from that school. So you can click on that and you'll see a list of the contacts. They're most likely going to be a DECA advisor in there if the school has that. There might also be a guidance counselor in there, and you can click on their profile and you can email them right from here. So this is good for when you're following up with your guidance counselor after a meeting, or if you weren't able to get a hold of them, you can email them right from here. And there's templates that are already written for you. So let's just say you have a lot less templates than I do, so don't be intimidated by that. So high school follow-up template. Look at that, it's already written for you. You don't even have to think about what to write. So you're able to just go through that, and any of your fields here that are highlighted in blue, they'll fill in automatically. You don't have to worry about those. And then anything that's orange or yellow, that's what you would fill in yourself. So, you know, put in Cherry Hill or wherever your branch is going to be. Are we able to add contacts to the schools? Yes, you are. That's a great question. Thank you. That you can do when you're on the school's page. You go to the hiring managers, and right here it says new hiring manager. And all you need to know is their name and their email address. That's it. That's all you need, and it'll add them. And it's a really easy, just put a name, email address. It'll take you to the next, just to make sure it's the right school, and then you're done. Cool. I feel like I talked really fast. What are your questions? What are you nervous about when you're going through these high school visits? I know I went around with Grace Marrero this week, and she was very, very nervous going into it. And we went to 6 high schools yesterday and 1 college in a matter of 3 hours. So it really goes quickly once you're out there, and with each school it will help build up your confidence in knowing that, okay, this isn't that intimidating. Once you're actually in the school, you just ask. It's much like selling. You never know until you ask. So that's what I really want you guys to get out there and just make the contact with your schools, so that you can be building your reputation and building your brand. Any questions?
Yeah, Mallory, I got a question.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the schools, like with the private schools, I'm assuming they're a little bit tricky to try and get into and talk with them. Do we want to handle them a little bit differently than we would the regular schools, or go about it the same way?
They can be a little trickier just because they can be, a little more finicky. If you have any of your, reps that you've worked with that went to this school, it's always great to bring them with you. And also with any school, I like for you guys to bring a list of students that have worked with us from that And you can get that list from Molian. If you email field support, they're able to give you that list, and it has the CPO on it. So you can give them examples, on a hard piece of paper saying, hey, we've worked with, 15 kids from this school. Look how well they've done. That's always a great thing to have, especially with those private schools that can be a little more unsure.
And who did you say we email? I missed that part.
I think field support.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I highly recommend doing that with any school, even colleges. If you're going to a college, that's a great thing to have, so that you have, examples of their students.
And then I guess also in terms of visits, like just the way my schedule is right now, I have classes like Monday, basically Tuesday through Friday. I wouldn't be able to get there at noon. So our ones in the morning, would they work even though they wouldn't be at lunch? Monday's like my full open day. So
okay.
I was actually just down in Lancaster today. I was looking for offices, but I also stopped by the college there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took me like 15 minutes, and I got basically 3 days for tables set up.
Nice.
But I keep my Mondays open for like better ones for lunchtime, and then go to see if I can get into a private school so they can just change which one I'm at each week.
Yeah, that works. In terms of visits, for going and visiting your schools, anytime between 8 and 1 is good for your initial visits. And for your tables, some of your lunches might be earlier. They might be like 10 o'clock. When I was in high school, I ate lunch at like 10 a.m. So it may end up being before your classes. So just check with the school to see what the timing can be. I do like, you guys having tables earlier in the week. That way you can schedule them for interviews, the following day and have them in training later that week. And keep in mind as well for your seniors, April 15th, you are allowed to schedule any senior, whether they're 17, whether they're 18, doesn't matter. Any senior can be scheduled come April 15th. So if you are able to get a table scheduled for Monday, April 16th, I highly recommend doing it, because that's when you can make sure that you're touching all of the seniors and getting them in the door for that week for interviews. Getting them into interviews before April 5th or before May or May 15th is always good too, because that's when they're really focusing on all of the fun parts of the end of senior year, prom, graduation, and the not so fun parts like finals. So the earlier you can get them in before the end of the year, the better. So that sweet spot is really April 16th, that Monday, until May 12th.
Okay.
Amazing, Mallory. I love all of these tips. Josh, do you have any other questions besides those two?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, awesome. Mallory, would you mind sharing how they can get in touch with you if they have any further questions throughout the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. So my email address is MOneil, so it's MONEIL @cutco.com. And then you can always feel free to call the office as well. My direct line is 856-454-9023. And I work in the Vector East office as well. So if you happen to be calling Shelby or Loretta or Scott or Nikki, they can transfer you over to me as well.
Yeah, Mallory and I are literally right down the hallway from each other.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Mallory, thank you so much for all this awesome information. Guys, thank you who jumped on this call. I know it was kind of last minute that we were promoting it, and I know it's at an awkward time of the day. So Brad, Josh, and Jessica, right? Yeah, Jessica's on here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. We're going to end the recording unless anybody has any last questions. Anyone? Oh, Brad, do you have a question?
Yeah, quick question. First, the campus documents website, my email isn't working on that. So could we just send you an email to get access to that?
Yeah, just shoot me an email and I'll fix your accounts to make sure you can get on there.
Okay, cool. And then also you you mentioned having like posters and like business cards and all that stuff. Like, would we have to get those made ourselves, or is there a resource that we can get that kind of stuff made for us?
You can get those through Lit, I believe. So was that on Vector Connect? You can do Lit orders. Through there, you should be able to order business cards and posters. There are some on campusdocuments.com. And depending on your region, some of your regions do them for you. What, are you in the Midwest?
Midwest, yeah.
Okay. Reach out to Erin. I believe she did the posters for your whole region.
Okay.
Yeah, Brad, another easy one too for business cards is also Vistaprint. They're pretty cheap too, and you can get them in quite bulk.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did mine originally.
Yeah, Vistaprint is always good too.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Mallory, once again, thank you so much. And we're going to end this recording. I'm going to post it on YouTube, and we'll be good to go. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.